Welcome to the final week of the 32-week deck challenge. Can't call it the 32 deck challenge because you know I've built way more than 32 decks. This is not the final episode of the show, but this is the final episode where the theme is a specific color or color combination, or in this case, lack of colors, because the final week is colorless. I was going to hold off on doing this one until after Edge of Eternities was officially released, but I saw that all of the spoilers came out, and I didn't see anything I wanted to put in my decks. Like, there was the one spaceship that can do 100 damage. Maybe that'll make, like, to a creature or planeswalker, and maybe that'll make it into this deck. But, maybe not. So our first commander is... You know what? No, we're not going to do this commander yet. We're going to go over this one. It's called Mono Artifacts. I think I mentioned during Urza week that my very first deck was a black and white deck that also ended up having so many artifacts in it that branched off to become a separate deck that was at the time called Mono Brown, because if you know from the retro frames, that artifact frames used to be brown. I do kind of miss that, even though I do agree that gray is a fitting color for artifacts. So this deck is kind of in honor of that, even though it has almost none of the cards that appeared in that deck. You can see just by going, a lot of these cards are way newer than 1997, I think. I didn't start when the game started, and I don't remember. Actually, you know what? We can look at MTG. Whoops, MTG. When did Ice Age come out? Okay, so I didn't... Really? I thought it came out later in the year than June. So I started... let's see... Fallen Empires. Okay, I started after Fallen Empires came out and before Ice Age came out. And by the time I started, Fallen Empire was already down to $1 a pack because everyone realized it was absolute garbage. With good art, but it was a terrible set. I love the art in Fallen Empires. In fact, there are good cards in that set. It's just that because it was a set with so much alternate art, there weren't that actually many unique cards in the set, so it was just all kinds of bad. But this is still an homage to that deck. So for our commander, we have Liberator, Urza's Battlethopter. That's three mana. I don't even have to say colors of mana anymore. For a 1/2 Thopter with flash and flying. It's funny, I don't think... Liberator did not, despite being an actual Thopter, actual Thopters did not make it into my Brea deck. So it has flash, that means you can cast it at instant speed. It has flying, because it's a Thopter. And then you may cast colorless spells and artifact spells as though they had flash. That's cool. Whenever you cast a spell, if the amount of mana spent to cast that spell is greater than Liberator Urza's Battlethopter's power, put a +1/+1 counter on Liberator. So that's sweet. Then we're going to go down to our land, which we have 30... No, we have more than 31. It's just that I separated my lands into two sections. We have all of the Urza named lands. That was important to me to separate them. In my original deck, I had 4 each because of Chronicles, which is a set I loved. I had 4 each of the Factory, Mine, and Power Plant. No, it was Tower. Factory was a different one. Although if the Factory was out back then, I probably still had them in there because, you know, big old generic. So let's go over these really quick. Urza's Cave taps for colorless, but you can also sacrifice it to search your library for a land card. That's neat. So that's 4 mana for any 1 land card, and you have to sacrifice this one. The Factory taps for colorless, but you can also pay 7. Total of 8 because this itself is a land. For a 2/2 assembly worker, it's not worth it. Urza's Mine taps for 1 colorless, but 2 colorless if you have the full set of Mine, Power Plant, Tower. Power Plant is 1 but 2. Urza's Saga is the enchantment land everybody likes. And we actually do have hits for the 3rd chapter of things with mana value 0 or 1. But it is a temporary one, and that's sad because I didn't put in I didn't put Crucible of Worlds in here. I don't think just because there's only 3 cards, 3 land cards that go to the graveyard, and then Urza's Tower, 1 but 3 if you have the full set, and then Urza's Workshop. It taps for 1, but up to 7 total if you have 3 artifacts in play, depending on how many Urza lands you have in play. But remember, the Saga goes away, so it's 6 at most otherwise. And then for our regular lands, we have 15 wastes, because why bother having colored lands in this deck? We don't have anything that specifically requires colorless mana, but thematically, wastes. Then we have the Wasteland that destroys non-basics. Vesuva can copy a land, and since none of the Urza lands are legendary that I know of, nope, it's basically another Urza land. And it'll either be a workshop or a tower, since those are the best 2. Then we have the Tyrite Sanctum, which can turn a thing into a god, and then also make that god indestructible. Strip Mine, that destroys any land, so that's all 3 of the things that sacrifice themselves that I remember. Well, I guess Lotus Field gets rid of 2 more of our lands, but that gets rid of wastes, most likely. Anyway, Shrine of the Forsaken Gods taps. This is the basically Ancient Tomb, but in my opinion better. Though you need 7 lands instead of 5 lands to get the double colorless, but at least you get 1 colorless, so you're not sitting there with a worthless land on your first 4 turns. Reliquary Tower to give us no maximum hand size. Not that that's probably going to be a problem, but it taps for colorless, and there's no downside to having no maximum hand size. Radiant Fountain just gains 2 life. Like, these aren't super impressive, really. Muragonda Raceway taps for 1, but if you get max speed, it taps for 2, and it has to start your engines. This is a game changer. It wasn't a game changer when I first built this deck, but I never owned this card. If I did, I would have sold it. I'll tell you that much right now. If I had that card, because I think it was still worth, because it was out of print when I started playing, so if I ever, and they did not put this in Chronicles, which makes me infinitely sad. It taps for 3 colorless mana for only artifacts, and the fact that they never reprinted this makes me sad. It's also the only game changer in this deck, and I still call this deck Bracket 1 because it's colorless, and I don't think I built this deck good enough to be out, like maybe bracket, like it can probably beat bracket 2s, but this is not a bracket 3 deck. Not when this is the only game changer. And it's a game changer for flavor. Or it's in the deck for flavor because it's an artifact deck. Mikokoro, Center of the Sea. This is just each player draws a card. I wanted that, because there's not a whole lot of opportunity to draw cards. Lotus Field enters tapped. Sacrifice 2 lands. It's hexproof. Add 3 mana of any one color. If I were to go through lands again, I might take this out. Just to put something else in. In fact, we're probably just going to do that. Guildless Commons. When it enters the battlefield, return a land you control to its owner's hand, and it taps for 2 colorless, so that's cool. Like, I don't think we have any lands that that have enter the battlefield effects, but if we ever wanted to do something that doesn't matter, if someone else allowed us to play more than 1 land a turn, I guess that would be good. Gaia Reach Sanctum, each player draws a card, then discards a card. Since I'm not a fan of discard, I would always ask everyone's permission before using that. Fomori Vault, 3 tap discard. Look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of artifacts you control. One of those in your hand and the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order. I like this. Deserted Temple untaps a different land, which is good. Since that one only taps for 1, and we have other lands that can tap for up to 3. And then Darksteel Citadel is an artifact land, so that's kind of funny. Let's go up in here and let's look for lands. T, land, O, add colorless mana. Otherwise, we're going to get all the things that don't do anything. Creature power 3 or less can't be blocked. Regenerate a bunch of stuff that ain't in this deck. Oh, Adventurer's Inn is a second hollowed fountain. That's at least worth looking at, even though there might be better stuff. Opponent stuff lose Hexproof and Shroud. That ain't bad. Bunch of creatures that ain't in this deck. Ancient Tomb is another game changer, and also I honestly feel isn't good in this deck. We have 1 piece of Start Your Engines, but the Start Your Engines super isn't important. Colorless mana, then sacrifices for color. 6 mana to draw a card. We ain't doing that. Oh wait, the Archway enters the battlefield tapped. When it enters the battlefield, return land you control to its owner's hand. If another desert. So we'll probably never do the Surveil. Apparently I put this deck together before this came out, or I decided I just didn't, since there were no other deserts in this deck. That I didn't care about this enough. That's hilarious. 4 mana to discard a card, draw a card. Not a fan. This has cycling. That's a possibility. None of that matters. Oh, Blast Zone, Blinkmoth Nexus, Blinkmoth Well, Bonder's Enclave, Boseiju. We don't have any. See, that's another reason why it's brackets 1. We have no instants or sorceries in this deck. It's mono artifacts. It's just lands and artifacts. Buried Ruin, actually I feel like is a good idea. Like, that's a card that's been in existence. I just didn't think about it. Cathedral of War? Oh, the land with Exalted. That's funny. Clive's Hideaway. I don't think we have enough legendary creatures for Clive's Hideaway. Command Beacon. Contested Warzone? What does that do? Oh, that actually, to be fair, attacking creatures getting +1/+1/+0 isn't bad, but the whole thing where it's contested so other people can gain control of it, that stinks. We can, if we have 5 or more lands, we can sacrifice this for a card. Basically, kind of making it a clue, since this is also itself a mana source. Oh, Crawling Barrens. Good old classic desert. What's funny is that other than the Urza lands, there wasn't really like colorless lands back in the day that I remember. So like that deck still had regular basics in it. I don't remember what kind it had. I think I had mountains in it just because that made artifact sense. Oh yeah, detection tower. That's like a lesser version than the other one because this one only hits hexproof. Nope, that mills, and I'm not about that game. Endless Sands. Exile a creature you control. That's interesting tech that we don't care about. And we have the 2 free land destruction cards. We're not messing with that. Oh, there's Fountain Port. Sacrifice a token, draw a card. Create a fish, create a treasure. That's all very expensive though, for something we don't technically need. Honestly, I should probably only be searching for the newest sets. But, you know, maybe I missed something. Homeward Path is funny. Sacrificing creatures to gain a life is not helpful. There is Inventor's Fair. But I don't think I'm going to do that. Set. Let's see. Fen. So there's the Adventures Inn, the Hideaway, the Mill, Wastes. I might look into the Wastes and change the ones that I'm using since they got reprinted a couple times. Flip a coin. Oh yeah, this is expensive. Let's see, what set came out before that? TD Dragons of Tarkir. Okay, that's the Commander product. TDS. Scryfall is having a day, for the record. Oh, I probably could have just done this. Nope. TDM. Oh, just that. Okay. So we close. We're at 101 cards, but that's fine. I added adventures in. I think I added something else. I added the Buried Ruin. $32 plus 7 is 39. You know what? 39. And then we're also going to take away the Radiant Fountain. There we go. So now we're at 30 plus 7, even though one of these is only a temporary land. But if you've noticed, we have 15 pieces of ramp. So let's go over them in reverse. Technically, we only have 14 pieces of ramp because Mycosynth. Oh wait, no, it is ramp. So Mycosynth Golem will never ever cost 11 mana for a 4/5 because it has affinity for artifacts. I mean, I guess it costs 11 in your opening hand, but it starts going down quickly. And then artifact creature spells you cast have affinity for artifacts. So that's neat. And then Karn has power and toughness equal to the greatest mana value of artifacts you control. So that may or may not be anything. I mean, if you've been looking at the screen, you can see we do have some high mana value stuff. Like the Mycosynth Golem's mana value is still 11, even if you don't pay it. At the beginning of your upkeep, you add a colorless mana for each artifact you control, and it can only be used to cast artifact spells and activate abilities of stuff in play. And then that mana stays in your mana pool until the end of your turn. Then we have Forsaken Monument. Colorless creatures get +2/+2. Whenever you tap for colorless, you get an additional colorless. And then whenever you cast a color spell, you gain 2 life. Thran Dynamo costs 4 but taps for 3, so that's the kind of mana ratio we like. Solemn Simulacrum gets you a basic, of which we do have 15. We have 15 wastes. They're right there. And then when it dies, you may draw a card. Krog Clan Ironworks. Sacrifice an artifact. Get 2 colorless mana back. I don't know how often we'll use that, but it is part of a thing. Drawer's Familiar makes all of our artifacts cost 1 less. Foundry Inspector makes all of our artifacts cost 1 less. Cloud Key will make all of our artifacts cost 1 less. Thought Vessel gives us no maximum hand size and adds colorless. The Iron Crag adds colorless, and then it can also be an artifact. I've almost never turned it into an artifact or turned it into an equipment on purpose. The Mind Stone it adds colorless or can be sacrificed to draw a card. Dowsing Dagger. Our opponent gets 2 0/2s with Defender. Equipped creature gets +2/+1 and +2/+1. And then if this deals damage, we flip it to the other side where it taps for 3 mana of any one color. I like this card, but I like it better when our commander has flying, so that's cool. Good old Soul Ring. And then Expedition Map to grab any land from our library. Which, depending on when we draw it and what else we have, it's either going to be for an Urza land or, honestly, Mishra's Workshop. Shimmermere, that's like most of our, half of our commander, because it has flash and it gives our other artifact spells flash. You know, it's backup for some of our commander. Let's see. Well, I guess technically we would go to my removal, but we only have 5 pieces. There is removal in Colorless, but it's all on-board garbage that I don't like, for the most part. So we have Portal to Phyrexia. That does feel thematic, because that's, I think that's the portal that the Might Stone and Weak Stone, was it Might and Weak, right? Not Might and Meek. Meek is a different stone, but that's the one that was holding closed. And this thing, each opponent sacrifices 3 creatures, so that's actually mass disruption. And then at the beginning of our upkeep, we steal a creature from a graveyard. Cityscape Leveler destroys a non-land permanent on cast, and when it attacks, and they get a Power Stone. Spine of Ishsa. I forgot this thing existed. When it enters, it destroys target permanent, and it also costs 7. And then when it's put into a graveyard from the battlefield, which means when we sacrifice it to Clark Clan Ironworks, we can put it back into our owner's hand. So that could be mass disruption. And then good old Meteor Golem, a 3/3 golem for 7 that destroys non-land permanent when it enters. Argentum Armor gives equip. It costs 6, right? Yeah. It costs 6, gives equip creature +6/+6, and when it attacks, it destroys a permanent with equip of 6. So it's a small section of removal, but if it gets drawn and I have the mana, I think it's good removal. Let's see. We'll go down to the bottom. We got a bunch of stuff to untap other stuff. Untap all artifacts you control during each other player's untap step. I do not have that orrery. Vidalcan Orrery, I believe that's the colorless one. So we can't cast things at flash speed, and I doubt we'd but this is so we can activate our artifacts and use our artifact mana during other people's turns. Clock of Omens, we tap 2 artifacts to untap another artifact. Staff of Domination, this is a large mana sink. And it does a bunch of other things. It can draw a card, tap creatures, untap creatures, gain a life, untap itself. Yeah, you see how much mana that can potentially generate. This is where we'd hope to sink it all into. Draw more cards, untap all of our opponent, or tap our opponent's creatures, gain life if we feel like we need it, or at least to use up mana so it doesn't go to waste. Mere Galvanizer. Oh, I had Mere Battle Sphere in this deck, so we're just going to take that out and put something else in. Because it untapped all mirrors. We'll save that for a Mere typal deck. Voltaic Key, untap an artifact. Manifold Key, untap an artifact, or target creature can't be blocked this turn. Either or, both of those are good. Then the Planar Bridge is 8 tap, search our Liberator for a permanent card, and just put it straight onto the battlefield. That's pretty sweet. Then we have Metalwork Colossus. We can sacrifice artifacts to put this from our graveyard to our hand. That's why it's in recursion, even though it's recurring itself, I guess. You could also put this in sack outlets if you wanted to. Workshop Assistant, Junk Diver, and Mirror Retriever all do the same thing. When they die, you can return a different artifact to your hand. This is basically infinite mana, because we don't have any Aristocrats effects. And then 1 piece of stacks just because it's funny. Non-artifact spells cost 1 more to cast. We're only casting artifacts, so that's our one. like our one stacks piece that makes sense. Then we have our protection. Artifacts you control have indestructible. That costs 9. Mithril Coat, of course you saw that in a deck I played. Dark Steel Plate, may as well. Swiftfoot Boots, Mirror Shield. Like, Dark Steel Plate is cool in this one because we supposedly have so much ramp and still have access to so much ramp mana. The funny thing about Misha's Workshop, by the way, is that it only casts artifact spells. It doesn't have, it's not like the new thing where it can be used to pay for costs. No, that is only to cast artifacts. So we can use it to cast the Dark Steel Plate, but not to equip the Dark Steel Plate. The boots, the Mirror Shield, the Lightning Greaves, the Commander's Plate, since our commander has no colors. Then Cyberman Squadron, non-legendary artifacts you control have Myriad. That's cool. Blade of Selves, equipped creature has Myriad. Hangerback Walker, you know, it explodes into Thopters. Excalibur, the Sword of Eden. Again, just like this guy down here. This thing costs less based on what we already have in play. This spell costs X less to cast, where X is the total mana value of historic permanents control. And hey, look, what's an artifact? It's a historic permanent. Plus 10 plus 0 in Vigilance. That's sweet. It can only be equipped to legendary creatures. That's mildly interesting, but that is kind of makes sense that the Excalibur you're like, no, you ain't important enough. Shadow Spear, +1/+1, trample lifelink, and can remove hexproof and indestructible. Now we'll go left to right. Sculpting Steel to copy an artifact. Mirrorworks to copy artifacts as they are entering the battlefield. So if we somehow get a non-token artifact to come onto the battlefield outside of being cast, we can make copies of them. Then we have the Ozolith, because our commander gets +1/+1 counters. Sir Ginger, just on the off chance our artifacts are put into the graveyard. I mean, we can do it ourselves with down here with the Ironworks. Then we have the Immortal Sun. That turns off Planeswalkers. We get to draw a card. It's also ramp because spells we cast cost 1 less. And then it also pumps all of our creatures. Mind's Eye. If an opponent draws a card, we can pay 1 to draw a card. Again, we plan on having a lot of mana in this deck, so that's all good. Apparently I did update this for Drift. Because of course we're going to put the Aether Spark in here. It's a generically good card, and stuff like this is probably why I'm wrong about this being bracket 1, but I do not care. I still don't think it's bracket 3. You can tell me if I'm wrong. The fact that I'm playing 100% sorcery speed with only 5 admittedly halfway decent pieces of removal and no other interaction. Mystic Forge, cast stuff off the top of our library. We can't play land, so if we get into a land, we're stuck. Well, we can mill, we can see, but it's exile, so that land's gone forever. What does Temple Bell do? Each player draws a card. Scrawling Crawler. During my upkeep, everybody draws a card, and then when an opponent draws a card, they lose a life. Yay. We've seen that in a couple of our decks. Tome of Legends, because we plan on attacking with our commander. Endless Atlas, because we have 15 wastes in the deck, so hopefully we can draw with this. And Sensei's Divining Top to smooth out our draws. So... Oh, I took 2 things out? Oh, I took out an extra land. That's right. So I went down to go down to 37 lands. Let's go to categories and go by type. We're going to add 2 creatures. Because we have 40 non-creature artifacts, 37 lands. So yeah, we're going to add 2 non-creature artifacts. Wow. That is wild to look at, even accounting for the fact that... So let's just go to EDH Rec. We're not going to see. We're probably not going to see anything we want to see. Like Scrap Trawler says lesser mana value, so that's why I'm not a fan of it. We're also not putting any Eldrazi in this deck. Palladium Mirror is mildly tempting, but I don't think we need this. Sacrifice 3 artifacts. Search your library for an artifact and put it on the battlefield. I understand that. I don't know if I want that. We very specifically did Hangerback Walker instead of Walking Ballista. Wormcoil Engine isn't terrible. Oh, Crypto. Oh, when I first made this, I didn't want to put any 40k cards in it. That's why it's not in here. But other artifact creatures you control have hexproof isn't terrible. That's a god, not an artifact. Metalworker is funny as a piece of as a Manador, considering our hand is either going to be all artifacts or some artifacts and some land. I don't know if we need it, but I don't hate it. And if someone wanted it in their deck, I mean, I've seen people play it, and I'm like, oh yeah, like, but I don't think I have any mana creatures. Platinum Angel, I understand. But yeah, no Eldrazi. Let's look at the artifacts. Yeah, the Crypto Thrall is still... You know what? Yeah. Even though I wasn't wanting to put 40k stuff in here, that's hard to argue with, given all our other artifact creatures hexproof, so that you have to use 2 removal to remove anything other than this. Might Stone, Weak Stone. Yep, okay. Actually, you know what might make it into this one that I'm not putting in the other deck? We're gonna go set EOC, and then we have to undo that. Then we have to go Commander equals C. Oh, I put EOC. I don't think that's going to find the thing I wanted to find. Minus is reprint. Moxite Refinery, Solar Array, and Surge Conductor. Whenever another non-token artifact control enters, proliferate. We're not... Well, I guess we have like one guy who cares about it, but I don't think that's worth a slot. I don't think we want to do that. And we definitely don't need Sunburst. But let's go to EOE. Minus TL Graaz, just to get them out of the way. Those things can go away. Well, we can do some recursion right here. A 9/9 for 9 that doesn't do anything. If we had more like, I like this lander token thing, but we only have 15 basics. Well, it doesn't exile everyone else's graveyard. This kill ship is funny. But yeah, the Dawnsire, the Sunstar Dreadnought. Did they do the thing that does 100 damage to up to one target creature or planeswalker when you attack? It's like, yeah, that thing's not blocking or existing anymore. That's definitely tempting. Oh, differently named lands. Let's look at Tezzeret. I know he's not an artifact, but he cares about them. Whenever an artifact you control enters, Tezzeret gets loyal to Cantler. Fair enough. Untap target artifact or creature. If it's an artifact creature, it gets a +1/+1 counter. Okay. And then it can grab cheap rocks. And then, nah, we don't need that, but that is a cool thing. Like, and this is the kind of thing I was talking about, where you put it into play, telegraphing it its existence, and then when you get higher up, you blow it up to get rid of something else. The End of Stone is interesting because it keeps your life total at 20 since we're in Commander. Whenever you play a land or cast a spell, draw a card. At the beginning of your end step, your life total becomes half your starting life total rounded up. That's the kind of thing that'll probably make this deck not a bracket 1 anymore. Like, just maybe. Although the Eternity Elevator, it costs 5, taps for 3 colorless, and then if for some reason you get it to 20, it's supercharged. I think I do like that. But I like the card draw better. Is there something we would take out for the Eternity Elevator, though? Oh, that gets to go into draw. Oh, I forgot to mention that we have Darksteel Juggernaut, which is just a indestructible thing with power and toughness equal to the number of artifacts we control that attacks all the time. It doesn't have any evasion on its own. And then we have the Colossus, both of the Colossi, that have trample and indestructible, and one of them has infect. And if they go into the graveyard, they are shuffled into their library instead. What's funny is that even though it's one of our draw pieces, the Endless Atlas, kind of, I like having Shimmer Mirror as a backup just in case. Oh, I guess we're not playing at instant speed, and everything I said was absolute nonsense. Boy, I didn't even know I was lying. Yeah, because all of our artifacts have flash. Boy, that is heckin' dumb of me. Let's see, but that puts us back at 100. Do I want... I mean, you know what? Let's take out Dowsing Dagger. So this is more expensive, but I like it better because it doesn't give them ground blockers or creatures they can sacrifice. And this adds, and this thing's never a creature, but that's fine. Man, making this thing a flying 20/20. That is so aspirational. How many creatures do we have? We do have a flat 21 creatures. What's weird is that I'm tempted to take out Sensei's Divining Top. I do like it, and I think it's a good card. Oh, whoops. This goes into ramp, which is there. Although technically I could probably just, like, again, 15 pieces of ramp, I could probably take out one of these. But I'm not going to. If I was, it might be the Solemn, but, like, I still have 15 wastes to grab. Thran Dynamo can stay because I like it, and it's Thran. I could be nice and take out the Lodestone Golem, or honestly the Metalwork Colossus. But it's a possibly free 10/10, even if it has no. You know, I'm gonna take that out of Recursion and put it into Finisher. Because if the Darksteel Juggernaut can be in there, so can the Metalwork Colossus. Oh yeah, I was looking for something to take out. I didn't actually put it in yet. Shadow Spear for life gain, and the Trample is super important. I just like Excalibur to equip to my commander. Just put that sword on the front of it. Blade of Cells is cool, especially if you get it onto one of your finishers. Like, this can't go on our finishers because none of these things are legendary. Total mana value. That's so wild. And I do want the Expedition map because all of the lands that it can grab are super good. Yeah, so actually it's gonna be the Sensei's Divining Top as much as I like it. There we go. And what's funny is, close that now, is that, oh, what do I, where would I even put it? You know what? It can go into Finisher as well because it's a flying 20/20 when it gets there. Although, actually, it's removal because that happens first. So there we go. Thank you, Edge of Eternities. And now this deck is incredibly illegal because we have the bracket mismatch that I'm not apologizing for, and 3 cards that are not technically legal yet. But I like this silly mono artifacts deck. That I'm going to insist is bracket 1. Oh, look. Listen, this is basically a bracket 1 mess. The very second deck I ever built was mono brown, as we said back in the day. This is a tribute to that. Yep. They want to call it bracket 3 because of 1 card. No. Save changes. So now we'll go back to this. This is going to be another silly deck because it's Grazz, Unstoppable Juggernaut. So it's 8 mana, so that ain't happening for a while, maybe. I think I'm going to copy over the lands. Copy card names and quantities. Control V. And then we're going to copy the Urza lands as well. Copy. We don't need quantities because those are only 1 each. I mean, there might be a lot of copying from that deck in general. But there's other dumb stuff. There's, like, we're going to do different dumb stuff. And we might lean into this upgraded part and put in more game changers. Because, okay, so Grazz Unstoppable Juggernaut is 8 mana for a 7/5 Juggernaut artifact creature. Juggernauts you control attack each combat if able. Fair enough. Juggernauts you control can't be blocked by walls. That'll probably never ever matter unless there's a colorless card that says stuff your opponent's controls are now walls. Other creatures you control have base power and toughness 5/3 and are juggernauts in addition to their other creature types. So what we're going to want to do is ramp into Graaz and have a bunch of cheap creatures that turning them into 5/3s is funny as heck. So we're going to go over here. Not here. This is the, if we need to do a third deck. Go here to the middle one. I'm going to grab my ramp because I think my 15 pieces of ramp. Copy card names because I think that's all fine. There wasn't anything in it, right? Microsynth. Oh, we don't need the golem. Oh wait, no. That gives all of our artifacts affinity for artifacts, right? Eternity Elevator, Karn, Forsaken Monument, Solemn. I don't think we're going to do that. Not that stuff. We're going to be different. That's you know, where we sacrifice junk divers and other stuff for infinite mana. Everything else stays though. And then we go back over here. I think we're going to keep, yeah, we're going to have all of that removal. You know, let's select all of that. Let's select all of that. Select all of that. Like, we don't need these finishers, but we do want Sir Ginger, I think. Select all of that. The Sculpting Steel because it's 3 mana to copy something. Mirror Works because it tacks on a tax of 2 to copy stuff. We're going to select the, because we want to be able to cast our stuff. Add Flash. You know, we'll put Liberator because he's flying. We'll copy the draw section as well. We like a lot of the stuff might just come back out. Oh, see, now that's funny because it says base power. Select all. Select all. I mean, why not be rude? I think we're gonna not do the planar bridge in this one. Nor are we gonna do the unwinding clock. Oh no, we're gonna do the unwinding clock, but not the rest of it. Since artifacts we control will have to attack. So we want unwinding clock and surge injure. Those are the ones that we need to. So copy card names, unselect. Save changes. Go here. SYR Jin. Unwind. Unwind. Unwinding clock. That put us at 87. How many creatures do we have? 15 creatures, because so many of them went into other stuff. The funny thing about some of these is that they become worse creatures when they get turned into Juggernauts. Like Karn and the Cityscape Leveler. Technically the Mycosynth Golem. But again, giving our artifact creature spells affinity for artifacts just still seems like a good idea. So we go back to categories. Your card draw. You are ramp, wherever that went off to. Ramp. And you are removal. Which looks like it's way down there. Oh, putting that in there. Do we want Blade of Selves? Like, I get Cyberman Squadron. Because that's still good, because all of our creatures are still 5/3s. I think we can dump Blade of Selves. Hanger Whack Walker is still cool because one, it's +1/+1 counters on top of a 5/3 if our commander's in play, and then it creates a bunch of flying 5/3s. Oh, Shimmermere ends up into protection. I guess technically you can call it that. Because you can cast a creature in response to attacks being declared, I guess. So now we have 14... 14 more creatures? Type. Yeah, 14 more creatures to go up to 29. Or more regular artifacts. I'm going to amuse myself by going to EDH Rec. See what kind of creatures. The Palladium Mirror, sure. Eldrazi Drones. Steel Overseer to put +1/+1 counters on everything. Mirror Retriever, yeah, but I already decided I didn't want to do that. This thing creates 4 mirrors on when it enters. Oh, Geode Golem, if it deals combat damage, and it's already a 5/3, so that's funny. It lets us cast our commander without paying its mana cost, but you still pay tax. Other artifact creatures get +1/+1. Mannequin, threefold Thunderhulk. Oh, I mean, it starts off garbage, but with our commander, it's a 5/3 with 3+1/+1 counters on it. And then if we sacrifice another artifact, okay, no, I like this because it's equal to its power that it creates more gnomes. So that's cool, even though it's expensive. If you control no oh, this is the one that returns itself to your hand. Actually, there are things that I'm surprised it oh, there we go. A 0 mana 5/3. There's only so the Thopter assembly won't make us any Thopters if we have Liberator or the Ornithopter in play. But we just kind of have. But if they go away, this can do the thing. Gingerbrute has haste, and then we can also make it to where it's can't be blocked by things with haste or without haste. So that's fine. I get it. Crashing drawbridge to give all of our stuff haste. I'm not in a hurry. I'm not in that big of a hurry. Steel Hellkite. Giggling Skitterspike. Oh, I get it. It's indestructible, and when it attacks, blocks, or becomes the target of a spell, it deals damage equal to its power to each opponent, and then adds monstrosity 5. I get it. Oh, Signal Pest. I get it. Because it can't be blocked except by creatures with flying or reach. So while it's technically not flying itself, so it cannot block creatures with flying, it's staying high in the trees. And then it has Battle Cry, so all of our other creatures become 6/3s for that fight. I understand. This would become a 5/3 defender, which does amuse me. Let's see if there's any different artifacts show up. Oh. Go to artifact. Hedron Archive. It's funny that by my own metrics, Hedron Archive could go in the deck, but I prefer Thran Dynamo, even though... oh no, that one does 3. This one only does 2. My brain. I mean, Chroma's Memorial. Flying, First Strike, Vigilance, Trample, Haste, and Protection. Considering that this is an aggro deck, I feel like that's good. Oh, the thing I was thinking of is that if I wanted to lean into its estimated bracket 3, I could put in the 1 ring and like something else. Cauldron Complete, I get it. Now we go to the top, we go to Syntax Search. Before we go to syntax search, we go, okay, 6 more things. Oh, we can go up to 27 creatures. Anthem, burn, copy counters, draw, evasion, land, life gain, protection, stacks, ramp, pump, tokens, removal, and one. Okay, yep. I still kind of argue that this is more bracket 1 just because we don't have instants or sorceries. But, like, out of all of the episodes that I wanted people to comment on, I really wanted people to go, why do you think this is X bracket or not? It's definitely not a 4 or a 5, but, like, between 1, 2, and 3. And, like, don't argue 3 just because it has a game changer in it. So we're going to go T, creature, order, CMC. We're probably going to put in Memnite. And then if we can find anything else that dissolves into creatures, that'd be great. Memnite. Yeah. It doesn't fly, but it's a 0 mana 5/3, theoretically. That's a wall. We'll do Phyrexian Walker. We're not going to do all of these. Well, I guess we are, but, like, we're going to do all the ones that exist, but we're not going to, like, load up on all garbage creatures for the last 6. Huh. If this was all creatures, this whole manifest thing would be pretty cool. And what's nice is that this doesn't have to be mono artifact, but it's probably still going to be mono artifact. Does not untapped. Cannot attack alone. See, now I want stuff that's either like this, where I can make it theoretically unblockable, or like brings us another creature. You know, just does something. You know what? I still have a bit of a high from that time we put Phyrexian Dreadnought into a deck, and it was a good idea. That's to me, that is still really cool. It was like, oh yeah, this is just lightning bolt or whatever it was that I said. That was good times. Technically, we only have to sacrifice 3 creatures for this, if our commander's out. But see, but then our commander makes it weaker, so that's why it's bad. Whoops. Just taking off the lid off of my drink, which is more Mio, not sponsored. Acai berry, which I didn't think I would like because I have no idea what an acai berry is, but it turns out I like acai berry. It is definitely berry flavored. It's like what if you mixed blueberry and raspberry and it didn't suck? Oh, Cyberman Patrol. Artifact creatures you control have afflict 3. So if you block them, they still do 3 damage to the defender. This could have gone in mono artifacts, but now we definitely don't know. I guess Sir Ginger Meal Ender could come out of this one, but like there's that whole thing where we could sacrifice stuff to be jerks. We could, you know what? Take out the Blade of Selves. Oh, the thing is about this whole Myriad thing also goes with Sir Ginger. Anyway, yeah, so Cyberman Patrol. That's sweet. Since we're attacking all the time, it's like take 5 or take 3. Cybermat. Oh, it has. Well, Skulk doesn't matter. What are we at, by the way? Okay, 3 more. This is gonna be one of those things where we find the 3rd one, and then I stop. I don't try to go over. Hovermere, Flying Vigilance. Native flying isn't bad. We'll come back to that. Looking at this Eldrazi and like, oh, I probably should have told it not to be an Eldrazi. But we're already this far deep and it hasn't mattered. We finished this one, we can probably do another one. And man, I really like Marvin over here, who has all activated abilities of creatures you control that are not named Marvin. But I don't know how good that is in Colorless. Marvin definitely is a dude that goes into any deck where your commander taps to do a thing. Or, you know, activated abilities, even if they're not tap abilities. When we get to 3, I'm probably gonna go back to the top. And refine the search a tiny bit. Oh, there's the Voltaic Servant. At the beginning of your upkeep, untap target artifact. Oh, instep. Sorry, that was silly of me. Okay, now we're at 3, so we're going to go back up here. We're going to add some things. A, it needs to be an artifact. Artifact. And then O, it needs to say flying, or it needs to say trample, because we want evasion. Reach, trample, protection from multicolored, and it's however big you want it to be. Oh, and it's, yeah, it's, oh, duh, starts as things starting as a 0/0, I just realized is good, because then become 5/3s. Okay, Stone Coil Serpent, but it has trample, that's the important part. Does not untap. That thing does stuff that I don't care about. Flying Modular. I like flying vigilance. Vigilance, you know, we're adding that to the terms. Or, oh, vigil, because I don't think I need to spell the rest of the word. I don't think that really added anything to this low level. Nope. How many more can I have? One more. Something cheap that does it. I think the last one will be the Market Backwalker, since it'll draw cards when it dies. I prefer to explode into Thopters, but that's just how things are. So if we're looking at this low, I mean, there's the Walking Ballista. That'll at least still be a 5/3. But it's like removing counters to deal 1 damage to any target. I'm not 100% enthusiastic on. Or maybe I do both of these and take out one of the worst ones. For some reason I thought this was in the deck and I was about to take it out, and I'm like, oh wait, no. We'll take out one of the things that costs 1. So let's close. We are 1 over. The Gingerbrute thing has to be activated. Let's see where the Pestermite ended up. Because I feel like it's in here somewhere. That also gives me oh, there it is. Why is... Oh, it has Battle Cry. That's why it's still good. That's why it gets to stay. So yeah, there we go. We're going to call this the Jugga. Jugga. After Best Girl Delta. Private unlist, even though it's once again going to be over a month before you see this. See this video? What's the win con? Trundle. Period. Save changes. We have 40-ish minutes still. So we have those two. So order CMC. We're not specifically going to go artifact because maybe we want to have this Spirit Naga as our commander. There's Traxos, the Scourge of Krug, who enters tapped and doesn't untap unless you cast a historic spell. Another legendary source that's not a commander. That's the annoying thing. The Warring Triad. There's Karn. We saw him in another deck. There is Ultima over here. So it's a flying 4/4 god for 5. When Ultima attacks, put a blight counter on target land. For as long as that land has a blight counter on it, it loses all land types and has add colorless. Whenever you tap a land for colorless, add additional colorless. This could have gone in Jugga as more ramp. You know what? I don't like Eldrazi at all. But maybe for the third one, we do Eldrazi. I'll have to think about it, especially since I see that we're coming to the end. And we'll just do like the final deck will be everything I hate. But what is the Capitoline Triad? Those that come before, this costs 1 less to cast for each historic card in your graveyard. Okay. Exile any number of historic cards from your graveyard with total mana value 30 or greater. And oh yeah, that's right. It makes all of the creatures you have base power toughness 9/9. Okay, I like that. I like Ultima being in it. We could partner Prismatic Piper with Clara Oswald for a 2-color deck. What does this guy do? Oh, this thing's super card draw. Whenever you attack, this could have been in the Jugga deck. Whenever you attack, if the number of attacking creatures is greater than the number of quest counters on Eddie, put a quest counter on it, and then you can sacrifice him to draw a card, then an additional counter, then an additional card for each counter on it. We're not doing that, but that is a thing that we could have done. Color spells you cast from your hand with mana value 7 or greater have double cascade. Sure, why not? Sure, Kozilek. Sure, Kozilek. Yeah, we're just. This is the deck that I hate. This is the deck that I hate because I don't like Eldrazi. I don't like this big nonsense, which is funny because I like those spaceships. Whoops. I put my hand on my keyboard in a way that pressed some keys, but didn't seem to matter. Set EOC. Undo this because we're gonna put those in the deck as well. I did EOC, but just I mean, if we're gonna have the same lands, we're just gonna do the Hangerback Walker again. Oh wait, we're just gonna copy the lands and the ramp and all that stuff. but you know what I'm going to put in here. It's not going to be a whole lot of artifacts. I said mono Eldrazi, but then I realized that I wanted this because that's funny. We're going to, let's, oh wait, no, that's going to be in the removal suite, isn't it? Okay, ding. We're going to close this. We're going to import cards from Jugga, I guess. Card names with quantity. We'll select all of those, but some of that's probably coming out. Some of these are probably also coming out. That's frightening, but funny. And then our removal. No, might as well put this in here as well. Oh, and the land, I don't know. Oh, I did a copy. Oh, let's put those in first then. Ding. Control V. Oh, that's right. Card names quantities is right there as well. And then unselect. Control V again. Oh, I don't need Shimmer Mirror or Liberator. Save. So that put us at 84. We are going to make you the commander. Let's see, and then you go into removal. We don't need the walking ballista. I'm second guessing the hangerback walker now. We'll ignore that for now. Geez, a lot of this is. Oh, we don't need the crypto thrall anymore. We're also going to grab the finishers from here because that's just absolutely funny. Where'd they go? Anthem, burn, copy, counters, protection, life gain, land, evasion, draw, ramp, stacks, pump, tokens, removal, untap. Oh, that's right, these didn't have the finishers. The finishers are over here. It's not the Darksteel Juggernaut, but the other. Oh, just the two Colossi. So we can just type those on. Dark Coal. And Blight Coal. That's going into finisher because it's a finisher. So now we're at 83. How many creatures do we have? We have 21 creatures. Oh, we don't need Memnite. We don't need Phyrexian Walker. We don't need Foundry Inspector. I still want Joyer's Familiar because we have a lot of Karn Legacy Reforged. We don't need that. Oh, we don't need the Mycosynth Golem. There we go. That gives us more stuff to do. We're down to 16 creatures, so we're going to want more. But first, T instant or T sorcery or T enchant. Oh, we should reapply the smart filter. So let's see, what do we do? Each player sacrifices all permanents they control that are one or more colors. Yes. In addition to cast this spell, reveal a colorless creature card from your hand. Exile each creature and planeswalker with mana value less than the... Yep, sure. That's awful. Oh, that involves colors, even though this itself is not. For each opponent, exile up to one target permanent that player controls that's an even mana value. If at least 3 colorless mana was spent to cast this spell, return a permanent card with an odd mana value from graveyard to the battlefield. Sure, why not? Oh, I just realized I can mess with the lands a bit more because I don't need, I'm going to do that really quick. We do not need Mishra's Workshop. What does that even do? Oh, that's each player draws a card. So we need a land again, and we'll figure that out. We're still doing all the Urza nonsense. Oh, you know what we can make the other one of? It's Thespian Stage. Thespian's Stage. I don't think I'm putting that into a deck, so as soon as that goes away. Thespian Stage becomes a copy of target land, except it has this ability, which is neat. So it can change what land it is. So now we go over here. So what is Echoes of Eternity? If a triggered ability of a color spell you control or another color's permanent control triggers, it triggers an additional time. Whenever it casts a colored spell, copy it. Oh, yeah, sure, why not? I mean, we're playing full colorless. We don't need any of these lessons. Eldritch Immunity, it's a tribal instant. Creatures you control gain protection from each color until end of turn, and then you can overload it. Sure, that sounds like a finisher to me. Eldrazi Conscription gives something +10/+10 and Annihilator 2. Annihilator's gross. Eldrazi Confluence. Man, I hate this deck so much. Choose 3. You can choose the same mode twice. Target creature gets +3/-3 until end of turn. Oh, that makes it kind of a removal. Exile target non-land permanent, then return to the... Oh, that's cool. Yeah, you know what? We'll do that. Face this one. Until end of turn, colors creatures you control. Oh, yeah, sure. Gruesome Slaughters. It's gross. It's only to target creatures, but that really does get rid of stuff. Exile non-land permanent. Okay, so that's actually a good lesson because it only costs 5, and it's a non-land permanent. Kozilek's Command. Choose 2. Target player creates a bunch of Eldrazi spawns that can sacrifice themselves for colorless mana. Target player scries X, then draws a card. Target creature with mana value X, or exile target creature with mana value X or less. Exile up to X target cards from graveyards. We're not going to do that one. We are going to scour from existence, though. Exile target permanent for 7, sure. Rise of the Eldrazi costs 12. Can't be countered. Oh, that's an extra turn spell. That's a bridge too far. 7 mana, create a bunch of garbage creatures. Selective Obliteration. Each player chooses a color, then exiles each permanent unless it's colorless or only the color its controller chose. I have a feeling that's not actually good. Create 5 spawns. Oh, Spatial Contortion. That's part of Eldrazi Confluence. Bahamut. Super State, why not? Man, Spatial Contortion is tempting. Titan's Presence. Oh, sure. Exile. So, reveal a colorless creature from your hand. Exile target creature if its power is less than or equal to the creature you revealed. Ugin's Mastery. I hate... Here's the funny thing. I don't like Eldrazi because I think they're too powerful. I hate Ugin. Tax everybody's spells by 2. Sure, why not? And it's a creature. It's just also like a sorcerer on the back that nobody ever casts. Warping Whale. Exile target creature with power toughness 1 or less. That's interesting. And then counter spell, so that's... Oh, that's an enchantment land. I forgot. Okay, so what are we at? That actually put us at 92. We have 18 creatures, so we can add 8 creatures to go up to 27. I like that we actually have instants in this deck. That's funny. And sorceries. And a couple of enchantments, of course. Like, I will accept that this thing thinks it's bracket 2. Oh, yeah, and I did replace that land. Whoops, that was my video game controller. I moved a table, and I upset its wires. I also knocked my other computer's mouse off the table. So pardon me as I waste everyone's time trying to fix my own clumsiness. And hit myself in the eye with the red laser from the bottom of my mouse. That is annoying. But at least it didn't mess anything up. That time it was just me hitting the side buttons on my mouse, which I do all the time because I am left-handed and mice are, if you didn't know, unilaterally right-handed. So I have to hold them funny. What's my hilariously bad mana curve? It's actually a wild spread across the gamut. Oh wait, it's not actually in order. It goes 0, 1, 10, 11, 12, 13, then 2, and 7. Well, we have a lot of ramp. Which we wouldn't know looking at it from here. So let's go back to categories. Oh, and also to move you to ramp, because that's where you go. There you are. Oh, we actually only have 11 pieces of ramp now. Oh, we have 12 including our commander. Oh, and then, oh boy, you should go, you go and pump. There we go. Although everything in pump I feel like should go in protection, because that's kind of what they're all doing. Like, Veka is +10/+10. That gives base power 9/9, flying first strike, trample and haste. The reason why this thing can go in Jugga is because I didn't want to have to deal with timestamps. Be like, is this a 5/3 or is it a 9/9? Okay, so we did that. We're gonna go by mana value. Set 5 by 1, 6 by 2, 4 by 3. Oh, I don't need. Oh yeah. I would still want this because then I could just say creatures. There we go. Yeah, duh. So we'll go back to categories. We're gonna go into here. Oh, colorless spell. Just want to see what cares about colorless spells. Oh, this thing costs 8, and then we can cast 1 colorless spell for free. That is Glaring Flesh Raker. Whenever you cast the colorless spell, you get an you basically get a treasure for colorless spells. Oh, and this also does 1 damage to each opponent. Sure, why not? 7 more, and they're all going to be creatures. It that heralds the end. Mana value 7, costs 1 less to cast. That's all. That's ramp, and so is this. Oh right, this gives colorless and artifacts, so that'll actually be good. Oh, this still lets us cast colorless from the top of our deck. Did we not? Oh, we didn't copy over the draw section. That's funny. And I already lied to myself. But this is good. Because I said it was all going to be creatures, and the third thing I picked wasn't a creature. Oh, Skittering Cicada for more colorless. Oh, and then, but this thing also gets bigger, so that's sweet. Here's the funny thing. I think I said this before, but I think I hate Ugin just on this weird principle I have more than I hate Eldrazi. And I hate Eldrazi. Like, and these are 2 Ugins that we'd want to put in this deck because this is ramp for colorless. That gives you a delay to draw and can destroy stuff. And then this Ugin is incredibly gross every time you cast colorless spells. I ain't even going to read it. Oh, and look at this. +2 to gain 3 life and draw a card. And the 0 to add 3 colorless. This is disgusting. This is vomit-worthy gross. And they should go in the deck. But they're not going to. We have 3 spots left. And we're going to go up to 25 creatures in the deck. And we're just going to look at Eldrazi. Eldrazi order CMC. We have the endless one. That's just a variable size. Oh, actually, that's a good point. Oh, colorless creature. The Eldrazi Mimic made a good point. Climate. Oh, and I forgot to put CMC, but that's fine. You may search your library for a colorless creature card with Converse Monk 7 or Crater, and then put it on top. The first creature spell you cast each turn is 2 or less. Okay, well that's. Whenever you attack, choose odd or even creatures with mana value of that. Oh, what's Bloodthirst? We'll have to look that up. What's Bloodthirst? Other colorless creatures you control have Bloodthirst too. If an opponent was dealt damage this turn... Oh, this is just main phase 2 creature casting. Okay. Though this thing itself costs 7. Boy, this thing make you think too much, because now it says you can choose odd or evens, and creatures with that mana value can't block this turn. I am just not going to mess with that. I am too mentally lazy. But now we just go T Eldrazi. Although the Eldrazi Mimic can turn into a 15/15, you know, or whatever. But it doesn't have evasion, so I don't care. Order CMZ. Da, da, da. Oh, this is a tribal artifact that makes Eldrazi spawns. Oh, okay. Idol of the False Gods is wild. So, you pay 1 in a colorless to create a spawn. Those things sacrifice. Well, I guess they're not tapped because they don't need to tap to sacrifice. So they are literally just treasure for colorless mana. And then whenever another Eldrazi you control dies, this gets a +1/+1 counter. And then as long as this thing has 8 or more on it, it's a 0/0 with Annihilator 2. I kind of like the investment in it, though maybe it won't go in here. I like the concept of this card. Oh, that's right. It turns into an Eldrazi. Whenever this creature attacks, each opponent loses 3 life and adds Flying Death Touch. But each player has to have 10 or less life, so that's kind of an ask. This is an Eldrazi horror. Oh, it can be played from exile. When it becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, you exile it. A thing that as long as you have 3 mana and it doesn't die. I do like how it's basically hexproof. But not really, because it can still be targeted. No, it's a spell or ability. Yeah, it's basically hexproof. Matter of Keeper dies. Okay, so it can put a small thing into play, or you draw a big thing. Non-draw. Inversion Behemoth. Okay, Inversion Behemoth is funny because if your opponent has a bunch of 0 stuffs, this gets rid of it. At the beginning of combat on your turn, switch the power and toughness of any number of target creatures until end of turn. That's funny and niche. I don't think we're going to do it, but I like it. Thought-Knot Seer. Oh, no, that does effective discard. Warden of Geometries. It has Vigilance and it's a mana dork. When you cast Blight Herder, you may put 2 cards your opponent's own from exile into their owner's graveyards. That's like supposed to be like the I didn't really annihilate you that much, but also like that counters. Well, not really counters, but it messes with adventures and foretell. Because, yeah, I think foretell and plot both exile the card. Like, you say you have a foretell zone, but it's not a zone. Let's see, Deathless Behemoth. Oh, you need Scions to do whatever that's talking about. When you cast Conduit of Ruin, you may search your library for a colorless creature with 7 or greater. Oh, yeah, that puts it on top. That's right. Locker of the Wastes is bigger if you have wastes. Reality Smasher. Oh, that's like it says counter on it, but that's ward. Discard a card. Annihilator 1. Untap at the beginning of each other player's on tap step. Oh, you know what? Sure. Because it can deal a damage, or it can make something not attack or block, or you can draw a card. And I think that brings us down to just needing one more. Yep. We're going to look through the rest of the list, but I think we're almost done with this deck that I don't like. When you cast this spell, target opponent exiles the top 4 cards of their library. And then you get lands. What's funny is that I'm still like following my own principles a little bit, even though I put a bunch of stuff that broke my principles already. Oh yeah, puts into exile from that. You may reveal this card from your opening hand. If you do, at the beginning of your first upkeep, look at the top 4 cards from your library. You may put one of those cards back on top and exile the rest. When you cast the spell, exile target permanent. That's one or more colors. Yeah. At the beginning of combat on your turn, reveal the top 2 cards of the library. If a creature card is revealed this way, you may have creatures you control other than this become copies of that card until end of turn, and then you may put that in the bottom of your library. I think I have too many legendaries for that to be good. I mean, we can hit Bahamut, but we can also hit all of the Kozileks that are in here. And all of the Ulamogs and all the Emrakuls. Wherever they all went. Yeah. There's too many legendary things in this deck for that to really be good. Bane of Balaged. Oh, that's just Annihilator 2 without the typing on it. Not of this world. Oh, that's a counterspell. When you cast Ruin Processor... Oh, that's the exile thing again. Oh, Sire of 7 Annoyances. First strike, Vigilance, Menace, Trample, Reach, Lifelink, Ward, Pay 7 life. Goodness gracious. We're going to keep looking, but I don't think I'm going to want anything else. Like at some point I'm just being all creatures able to block this do. That actually would end games. Because all of the other stuff is getting through. But it doesn't have haste. This gains us life for each colorless permanent we control. Wait a minute. Hold on. Okay, this does not answer the question that I had. Are lands colorless permanents? I think they are. So that is wild. Artisan of Kozilek. Whenever you cast a spell, you may return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. I mean, for 9, yeah, I guess. Pathrazor as Super Menace. It that betrays steals stuff that have been steals non-tokens that have been sacrificed. So I saw two things that I would put in the deck. This creates two of itself, but neither of them have any form of evasion, so I'm not too worried about that. That steals a thing. No, that doesn't steal a thing. That brings back a thing. That has the decency to have trample. Annihilator 3 Super Menace. Okay, so we're 2 over. The 7 Deaths is still good. The hilarious thing about this is that if we somehow have 3 of our Eldrazi Titans in the graveyard, that's all it takes. You know what? I don't think I need the expedition map. That was mostly for Misha's workshop. It that heralds the end. Oh yeah, no, that's super necessary. The rest of this is good. This gets one thing back. You know what? There. I think that's the 2. That's the 2 I needed. This deck is gross. We'll put it on unlisted. We're going to call this colorless, comma, tasteless. I don't actually like this deck. I don't like this deck. I could make a version of this deck that I liked. Probably. That didn't have any Eldrazi in it. But, oh, it's because it has stuff that aren't technically legal yet. In the future, I can revisit this. Is there unfortunately, there isn't. There isn't a category for creature type. You can do categories multiple, but like that's something we have to set. It's funny that this. I'm moving this down to removal because that's what I think it is. I'm gonna move it to this that portrays just for cheeky recursion. Although some of these guys don't, like some of them go back into the deck if they're ever put into the graveyard. But yeah, and we're still portaling to Phyrexia. That's funny. What was the thing that mattered for? It was it in ramp? No, it was over here. It was historic, so it also counts our. Basically, anything that's not an instant or sorcery in this deck, or regular enchantment. Yeah, artifacts, legendaries, and sagas. The funny thing is that I'm not. Is that this would make a lot of things weaker. And some things, and a few things stronger. That's the mildly amusing thing. Though, if I were to make this a legendary creature, or legendary, if I were to make it the commander, that's where I would probably worry more about the Eldrazi creature tokens. Yeah, these things, creating a bunch of those. Yeah, a lot of these get smaller because of that. But some of them get bigger. You know what? I'm good with this. I'm good with where we landed. Oh, we're a little bit over 2 hours. So next week is not a part of this challenge. We're done. I was thinking of doing a wrap-up like episode, but that might be a bonus episode where I just look at all the decks I made and just reminisce. But that sounds incredibly boring for me to do. I don't know about how much you'd like it. That sounds like a live stream thing to do when I have more people following me, or if I can get one of my Discord friends in on this, if they don't mind being recorded. But next week, I think, I can do a preview of what I have. So that's the past episodes. That's where everything I've already done is. This is post 32 ideas, but that's there we go. That's stuff that's secret for now. And then this is stuff that I put forward that I want to do next. So we have the Marvel Secret Lair Commanders. Oh, and Deadpool. Don't expect that to be any good. The Sonic the Hedgehog card, Secret Lair. Not all of them, though. Okay, I said I didn't like him, but that's because he's a Villainous Choice, and he doesn't go in the Villainous Choice deck, because his Villainous Choice calls for stuff that makes the rest of the Villainous Choice deck worse. And then I have the Chaos Control and Gotta Go Fast. I think I was starting these decks, and it just annoyed me to try to get the rest of them started. But Tails, Amy, and Knuckles will probably get their own decks as well. Street Fighter, that's all the Street Fighter Secret Lair ones that I haven't done already, because I know I've done 2. So that's Guile. This guy, I'm definitely going to wait until after Edge of Eternities is fully out, since he does charge counters, and there's stuff I don't want to have to futz with the card search. Then we have Hello Ken for Hadouken. That's awful, but that's Ryu, that's Zangief, Dhalsim, Chun-Li, Blanca. Oh, I didn't do Kin Masters yet. That's wild. Oh yeah, that week was so I can just go up here. I can go into past episodes. I can go into the guilds, and I can find the different. Yep, there's 99 red balloons because we did the Balloon Man. And we only did 2. We did Toys in the Attic, and those were both named after songs. That sounds like something I would do. So yeah, sweet. So we can do I'd probably try to do 2 a week, so it'd be Ken and Ryu 1 week, because it's Ken and Ryu. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, nice. And then Chun-Li and E Honda, Blanca and Guile, Zangief and Dulcim. There we go. I was about to do Blanca and Zangief, but then I remember Blanca is supposed to be Charlie or whatever in some canons or another. I forget how true that's supposed to be anymore. I do not follow the Street Fighter lore. I'll tell you that much right now. And then we have the Transformers. Let's take this and put that in past episodes. And then this is the most likely thing next. Me pretending like I can. Actually, my upgrades are going to be silly because I'm just only going to use cards from their respective games. So only Final Fantasy VI cards, because all of these should have more cards in the main set. So I'm gonna look into that, and that's what I'm gonna do next week. That sounds like fun to me. See you then. Thank you for watching these.